there. This is Diana Cascan-Plopa again with Pages Promotions Indie Reads TV. And this is our second segment with Andy and Bailey Lockwood. We're having a blast. We had so much fun in our first segment, we just couldn't stop, and we needed to do a second one. So much to talk about. So, welcome back, guys.
Hi.
Thank you.
Thanks for sticking around and doing this a second time. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Super fun to have you here. So, Bailey, I want to talk a little bit more about your work as an editor. First of all, I just love the logo. I'm just madly in love with it. I have a thing about ducks, so I just love the logo. But tell me a little bit about what it takes to be an editor. Are there pitfalls to editing for you as an individual? Are there things that you have to watch for so that you don't get hypercritical? How do you manage that part of it?
Like, I know that other editors and people that are in the editing business get tagged as, like, the grammar Nazi or the grammar police and things like that. I actually don't find that to be the case for me. Because if we're having a conversation, I'm not going to jump on you about your grammar. I'm just not. If we're texting, that's text. Emails, I understand. If it's a professional email, it's completely different.
Sure.
But if you're handing me a manuscript for me to work on and to clean, then I'm going to be all over you. It's two completely different people.
You know, I really wish more people in the literary world saw these things the way you guys do. You have such a great way of compartmentalizing and saying, this is the thing I do, and this is the life I lead. And they're two very separate things. We were talking in the first segment about separating the wife-husband team from the editor-author team and how you guys managed to make that work. In my writing group, we have this funny little thing where we talk about all of us as gently schizophrenic because we talk to our imaginary friends and we,
Yes.
we go into places where a lot of normal people usually don't venture.
Mm-hmm.
I know you guys are friends with a lot of other author people, but do you have friends and acquaintances outside of the literary world, and how do they receive you in this ability to almost live this life of duality?
I mean, I don't think they treat us that differently. Like, it's just it's a job, or like a hobby, or just like anything else that other people do. We have friends who paint and friends who work on cars, and it's just one of those things that other people do, and if they have questions about it, they know they can talk to us. But it's not something that we are swallowed up by 24 hours a day, so we can just be normal people too.
Boy, what's normal like?
It's all relative. I know for me, with a lot of my friends, they know I'm weird, and I will box out each individual me that needs to be.
Each little dose of weirdness goes to a different recipient.
Exactly. So, like,
It's a little gift.
I have the work me, I have the editor me, I have the wife me, I have the daughter me. They're all the same person, but there's different rules, I guess. I don't know. Everybody in my life's really used to it.
Well, and then if you're anything like me, and you and I are noticing more and more similarities, the more we get to know each other. There are people that you can simply not have boxes for.
Yes.
Well, yes, but I mean, aside from the two of you,
Yes.
if there are points in the world where you're sitting in a car commuting to someplace with somebody and you happen to go, oh, paper, must write this down. There are people in the world that you associate with that get that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they don't hold you hostage for it.
And they are very few, and they are very precious.
Yeah. Absolutely. Have you found any challenges with that idea of, I hate to put it in a negative light, but compartmentalizing relationships, friendships? I mean, we all do it. Those of us who have day jobs do it, work, home, right? Mm-hmm. My son grew up at home with me, And then he went to his dad's house, and then he went to his grandparents' house. So it was mommy's house, daddy's house, grandparents' house. And we all had different rules and different ways of doing things. I'm wondering if you find that out there in the writing world. Not for instance, you just did StokerCon.
Yeah.
Do you find that you can let yourselves just be that gently schizophrenic creative that you are at a place like StokerCon or PenguinCon or some of the others? Or do you find that you have to have yet another compartmentalized box that you only take out for convention?
No, I would have to say that I feel like conventions like that are the one place where, if you will, you can let your hair down. You can be that person. You walk in there and everyone around you is not there, especially StokerCon. Everyone around you is a horror writer. This is their genre. So, like, I can walk in there and just be as weird as I want, and I'm not going to shock anybody. Like, I'm not going to freak anybody out because, like, some of these people have been doing this twice as long as I've been alive, you know? So it's really nice. Like, there's
It's kind of like, how can you shock Stephen King?
Yeah. And it's just this unspoken kind of dialogue between all of the authors. Like, we know. I know you, you know me, and there's just, like, so you've already sidestepped that whole conversation that you have with some new people, like your real day work coworkers, like going, hold on, I'm a weirdo. I really like zombies and vampires and stuff like that. If you can't deal with it, just talk business.
Yeah, right. So I asked Bailey this in the first segment, what she likes to read when she's not editing. When you're not working on your own projects, what do you like to read, Andy?
I actually take a lot of recommendations from friends, and I'm always looking for, I will pick up anything that people say is the scariest read ever. Because, like, I'm still looking, I'm always chasing that high, you know, like.
So you are one of those people that want to ride the roller coaster without the seatbelt.
I do.
Weirdo.
I love haunted houses. I love the scares. I like that creepy feeling when you turn off the lights and you really want to run up from the basement before the monster gets you. But I also have
Bailey.
So he mentions the basement. That is also one of my irrational fears. Is we bought our house specifically because there's a panel under our open staircase because I have the irrational fear of somebody grabbing my ankle as I'm walking through and pulling me in. So he's a brat and he's pulling out my irrational fears.
That's great.
I know.
It's a trope that works.
Well, you know, here's the thing. If it gets her to come to you for comfort, then you win.
True. That's absolutely true.
And you have watch cats watching out for you at home, making sure that you don't...
Sure, they're watch cats. They're very lazy watch cats. They are not holding up their end of the bargain at all.
Well, and it's not like our house is all skulls and lightning bolts and, you know, like haunted house.
Well, that's
stuff.
comforting.
But it is Halloween 24/7 in our house.
Sometimes. I mean, sometimes there's, you know, like, because you have to have a palate cleanser. You can't live in, you know, even if it's my favorite genre, I can't live there all the time. So, you know, I've read all of her favorite books. I enjoy Harry Potter. You know, I've read a few of the John Green novels, you know, like, so I keep up with, you know, some of the popular stuff, some of the non, like, I guess, polar opposite of what my genre is, you know, the light and fluffy stuff. So
let me ask you this. Do you ever see yourself writing something not your genre? Would you choose, if somebody said, Andy, enough with the horror, take a break, what would be the other genre you might go to?
I mean, I could probably, I feel like it'd have to be something that I wanted to write. I'd have to be able to get into that, you know, and, like, be motivated the same way I am with my other stories. But I could easily write, you know, probably a love story, I think. I mean, I could...
I was watching your face on that question, Bailey, and you were...
Because
you
I knew
were
the
just
answer to that.
giggling there.
Because every story he writes, he says that he writes love stories. Every single book is a love story.
Even
And
the
he's-
scary ones.
I will defend that. All of my books, like I
He's
don't write
not
horror
wrong.
stories.
He's not wrong. He's just maybe a little misguided, I guess.
A little inaccurate.
Like, it's there, but there's like all of the horror around it. So you
Nothing.
focus more on that than the love story. He sees the love story.
Nothing brings people together more than trauma.
Well, that's
You are the
true.
worst.
That's absolutely true. And nothing builds trust like, can I go to you if I'm scared out of my wits?
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
if I'm absolutely petrified, can I go to you and can I trust that you're going to be okay with it's all right, it's just an irrational fear. You know, that's great. Horror works wonders for relationship building from that aspect. So you're actually doing us a service. Thank
I
you.
like to think so. Thank This will probably come up in counseling at some point.
Probably.
She's on my side.
For now.
I hope you're not going to counseling for me. Can you envision? Let me ask. Let's play a little game,
Okay.
just because we can, because we have the time, and I'm struggling with technology, but there we go. So let's play a game. If you could write a children's book with a bit of a horror twist, not enough to scare the pants off of them and put them into Bailey's irrational fears of things grabbing at them from under the closet door. Real quick, and I know I'm putting you on the spot, but real quick, what could you imagine a plot line would be for a children's horror story? And let's think like kindergarten, first grade.
Okay. Do you want to handle this one?
Nope, this is
Okay.
you.
So I've already I'm working on something like that. It's a
Oh, really?
it's a long ways away.
I jumped into that not
Yeah.
knowing?
Yeah, I mean, because like the hard part is figuring out something, because I feel like all the board books and the big rectangle books, the best ones have lessons. They have good stories,
Yes.
but they teach lessons, and I'm not sure what my lesson is so far, but I know the story is going to be all about this monster that lives under the bed. But the monster is the one who is afraid of all the noises in the daytime.
I like that.
So I have to figure out my lesson here, and maybe it's just, like they're as afraid of you as you are of them or something.
Okay.
But yeah, that's what I'm working
What a
on.
great idea.
Thank you.
So, Bailey, do you have any designs on writing? I know editing is a great love for you, and you love to watch the improvement process. We've talked about this before. Is there an inkling in you that says, yeah, maybe one day I'll tackle this writing a book thing?
Yes. I have a few works in progress.
Good for you.
I have one back from high school that is handwritten and typed out on a floppy disk
Wow.
somewhere.
Wait a minute, a 3.5 or a 4.25?
3.5.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I don't know if I'll be able to recover that one. I need to find the notebook and then I'll be okay.
I have a disk drive if you need it.
Fair enough.
Okay.
I do have a few. But the same thing for him, there needs to be like a point to the story. So I have a whole lot of like startup, but I don't have why am I telling the story. Like,
Okay.
I have scenes, but those that can't write, edit.
I'm sorry. You have a new book coming out,
I do.
Threshold?
Yes, Threshold.
Tell us about Threshold and when we might get it in our very eager hands.
Well, it has been being pushed back steadily, but I think it's all been for a good purpose. Like, it's given me more time to work on it and really polish this one up. So I think this will be the best yet. But this is another contemporary horror story. I'm going back to, my roots aren't that far back, but
Right.
I'm going back to my roots. And I'm telling a story about a haunted mirror. It's been in this family for ages. Nobody can remember why it's there, what the point of it is, how it got here, where it came from. because I don't like telling origin stories. I think that detracts from it. If you know what the monster is, then
What's the point?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So we have this mirror. We don't know why, but the matriarch of the family passes away. It gets handed down to our main character, Kate, and Kate has no idea what this thing is. And she doesn't know why all these creepy things start happening around her the longer this thing is in her house. So it starts out as like a slow burn that gets to, a big build up. And it is also, I will defend it again, this is the best love story I've written.
And
I stand by that one.
I can confirm it is a really good love story.
So when we talked last year, and we were talking about getting closer to Threshold coming out.
Yeah.
I can't remember if I asked you or not. Is Threshold connected to the other two books in any way? Is it connected to House of 13? Because I know at one time you were talking about maybe possibly writing something that's either a continuation of or a sequel to 13, but you weren't real sure if you were going to go that direction yet. So is Threshold that, or is Threshold a brand new story with a brand new environment?
Threshold is a brand new story, but it is quasi-connected to the rest. I don't name her by name, but there is a nurse from Empty Hallways who actually appears in Threshold.
Okay.
And there's also a vague mention of the town that House of 13 takes place in. So I'm loosely connecting them, but I don't want to.
Just little cameos.
Yeah, little cameos, little nods to where I came from.
Okay. So, Bailey, I'd like to talk to you a little bit more about editing. And I know that you're going to be branching out and doing some new publishing services as well. So can you tell me a little bit about what Just Ducky does and what you would be looking for if someone in our audience was an author in need of editorial services?
Sure. So I originally started out with just editing anything and everything that he brought to me. All of my start off has been him. Anything he's written, I've edited. Be it short story, be it novel, be it the massive tome that is At Calendar's End, all of it, top to bottom. I understand that a lot of editorial services will do line editing, copy editing very specifically. I kind of don't do that.
Okay.
If I have a manuscript in my hand and I see the thing that's a problem, I want to fix it. I want to be your one-stop shop.
Perfect.
So
She is very possessive over her authors.
I am. I do have a little bit of a, you're mine now, thanks.
But you know what? Having that approach makes it easier for an author because it means we only have one person we have to fight with over changing things. Mm-hmm. If you have to fight with an entire team, I can't even begin to imagine what that might be like. Mm-hmm. And it's, unfortunately, it does sometimes come in the guise of a fight because we are so protective of our work and we want to make it better, but we don't always see that perhaps cutting a scene or changing something is going to make it better. Mm-hmm. So having one person to do that with is so much better than having two or three.
And that's what I felt was the case too, because why take it to so many different people when one person can help you from top to bottom? Branching out into the publishing thing is new and exciting, and I'm super pumped to start doing it. I haven't gotten to do one just yet, but we're going to start working and getting him under my publishing arm and everything like that. And I am working with another author currently who wants to do a board book for
Excellent.
children infant safety, and I'm super excited for that one. So it's going to be good.
That would be very exciting.
Yeah.
Well, I'm more than happy to support you in any way I possibly can.
Thank you so much.
Sure. So, if you weren't writing, Andy, what would you be doing with your life?
What wouldn't I be doing with my life? I'd have years back. I would probably still be dabbling in, all the stuff that I do on the interim now. I I've been looking and getting back into doing short films. I used to do a lot of filmmaking. I dabbled in comic books. I do graphic design. I have a t-shirt printer at home that I play with. So I would still be an artist even if I wasn't an artist.
Okay.
There's always something to do and make and create and throw out into the world to see how everyone reacts to it.
It's hard to ignore that creative side.
It really is.
And Bailey, if you weren't editing, what would you be doing?
I'd find a way to be a paid reader.
You know, they have those. I can
Yes.
connect you.
I'm in.
Is there, as a team, right? I mean, as a creative team working together, collectively, is there some advice that you could give aspiring authors, new authors working with their team? Maybe some best practice advice about how to avoid the earthquakes of this world? Can you give us a little bit of hint into how maybe somebody else coming into this might be able to make it? And we talked about the separation part, but I mean, when it comes down to the nitty-gritty, author, editor, the two of you working on a project together, what's the best approach?
Literally one word: communication.
Absolutely.
Because if you don't tell me that you don't like the changes I've made, and I don't tell you why I made the changes, it doesn't work at all. Because I don't understand why you did the thing. He doesn't understand why I did the thing. And that makes for a poor book. You have to be open with each other 100%, no matter who you're dealing with.
That is the other word, is openness. It's a lot to do with the fact that knowing as an author, this is your baby, but you're so close to this project. Like this is all you've been breathing since you started writing it.
Sure.
You are too close to understand what needs to be changed, and you just need to accept that when your readers, your beta readers and your editors and everyone around you are telling you that these are problems, they need to be fixed, you need to polish this up some, listen to them. They're there to support you. And, if you can't trust them, then why do you have them? You're
Good point.
You're not going to do this on your own.
Good point. So the last 5 minutes here, I'd like to end on kind of a high thing here. So we've been talking about suggestions to make to aspiring authors. When you look back on working together as a team, working individually on your own individual creative pursuits, writing, editing, what's the most fun of it? What's the thing that keeps you coming back to that page every single time?
Me. There are moments, like every so often I will try to start writing House of 13 book 2. So I'll go back and I'll start reading parts of the first book. And honestly, there's this payoff when you're reading your own words and they are foreign to you. And you're reading this going like, this is amazing. This is really good writing.
Did I do that?
Exactly. And then you're like, who wrote this? Why does it have my name on it? But you start getting all these reactions to the book like the other people do. And like when Bailey's reading the manuscripts and things, I don't even know she's reading them. I don't know where she is, but she'll react to something. And then I have to know what it is. And like and it'll be like she'll tell me the scene and I'll be like, that's the way I wanted you to react. So it reinvigorates you to do this again and keep doing this so you can make other people, I mean, they're your puppets. You make them feel the way that you want them to feel. And it's a little creepy, but it's amazing.
Would you agree with that, or is there something else that makes it super fun for you?
No, I agree with that. It's fun relaying to him that a scene was super powerful in one way or the other, and then seeing his reaction of like, yay, I did the thing. Like, wahaha. And that's good. I like to see your face light up when you've hit the mark. For me, it's because I have such a close relationship with each author that I work with. it's knowing that I actually know these people that are writing these amazing, beautiful scenes, and they're just gorgeous and thought-provoking and wonderful. And then being able to tell them that I felt this way because of the words you created.
Mm-hmm.
And then getting them to glow and things like that too.
That is a big rush.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's, especially with him, like reading certain scenes and like feeling the emotion that he's put into it and being like, I know you outside of this whole profession, and I know like your day to day, and I know that that exists inside you. That's really cool. And I'm excited for every project he gives me.
That is very, very cool. Well, we have your websites scrolling down at the bottom of our screen right now so that people can find you. Andy, are your upcoming events going to be listed on your website?
They are.
we
They're
didn't-
all up there now.
Okay, we didn't really have an opportunity to get into all the wonderful things you're going to be doing, but I do want to say, just because, June 22nd, you're going to be at the Summer Indie Book Fest that we're having here in
Yes.
Troy. We're very excited to have you
I
there.
hear someone awesome is putting that on.
Yeah, I don't know who that would be, but it's going to be tons of fun.
Yes.
And then the other note I have here is you're going to be at Sterling Fest July 27th.
Yep.
And that's hosted by the Sterling Heights Library.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of fun. I'll be doing that event with you as well. So that'll be a good time. Are there any last nuggets of wisdom that you'd like to throw out into the literary universe? Anything that you'd like to say, hey, writer people, reader people, check this out?
Oh dear God. Now I'm on the spot.
Okay, let's do this.
Okay.
Let's make it easier. 5 seconds. Best book you'd recommend?
On writing, Stephen King.
What about you? Best book?
Name of the Wind, Pat Rothfuss.
Okay, takes care of that. Thank you so much for being with us. I really appreciate you taking the time. I know you guys drive quite a ways to get down here from Jackson, so
It's
thank
worth
you
it.
very,
Totally
very
worth it.
much. I had a blast having you guys here. I hope you'll come back when Threshold comes out and we can talk about the
Absolutely.
book again.
Of course.
And we'll keep you in mind for later shows as well. There's a lot going on.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
again.
Have a great night.
You too.
You too.